Good afternoon. Welcome to the channel. It's the week before Christmas and it's getting kind of chilly. Actually not bad for this time of year. It's about 40 degrees today, so we'll take that. Just decided today to just give you a little bit of a kind of an update on the projects and what we got going on around here. Work gets a little bit slow in the wintertime because we've got to work outside. Probably could make some room in this garage, but yeah, eventually. So behind me here, you'll see our 1960 Edsel. This is a running driving car. This one you've seen in some recent videos. It's the Speed Demon. We just plan on kind of keeping like it is. Kind of it's a cruiser, 6-cylinder, 3 on the tree, got the old 223 in it. Need to do a little work on it. I would actually drive it sometimes during the winter if the wipers work. They're vacuum wipers, and this has been converted to an electric fuel pump. So I need to do an electric wiper conversion. The heater core is leaking. The heater actually does work, but the heater core is leaking on the floorboard. So I got to address that. But heater cores are not available for these cars. If you know of one that is, please let me know. Otherwise, you've got to take your heater core to a radiator shop and see if they can repair it. That might be the route. I do have a couple spares around here. We'll see if that's the route we end up having to go. But if the wipers worked and it had heat, I would still drive this car on clear days during the wintertime. So you may still see this one putting around. We still do need to find correct bumpers for it. It has Galaxy bumpers on it. Don't really fit it right. I do have the original bumpers for the car, but they're pretty rough. So anyway, that's our 1960 Edsel 2-door sedan, 2-door post car. And you'll be seeing more of this car in the future. Here in the garage, we'll have 1961 Galaxy 2-door hardtop Club Victoria. This would be the Galaxy without the Starliner roof. This car has been converted to a original 352 3 on the tree car. Now has a 428 backed by a top loader. This was supposed to be a weekend engine swap. Had a 390 in it when I got it with the top loader behind it. And that was started 5 years ago. And I decided to make a couple little changes like headers and put an aluminum radiator in it, things like that. And yep, here it sits, almost ready to run. So 2025, I know I'm not a big New Year's resolution guy, but I'm really gonna try to get this car running and back on the road because it really is fun to drive. And you can kind of see it's nestled in the garage, kind of becomes storage. And you can see why we have to work outside because there is absolutely no room in this garage. My wife would actually like to park her car in here, in this spot here. These ATV and this go-kart belong to my kids. So they're occupying the space right now. So slowly but surely, we'll get there. Stall number 3 here, we have our shop truck, which hasn't done much shop trucking. This also has a 428 in it, backed by a C6. This truck has 69,000 original miles on it. It's a 66 F100 long bed 2-wheel drive. Has drop I-beams, disc brakes. I actually drove this car with its truck, I should say, with its original engine when I obtained it back in like 2008 or 9. I think I bought this truck. It's been I swapped a 390 into it. The cam went flat on the 390. Now has a 428 in it. Like the Galaxy over there that it shares the garage with, it is very close to running and has been very close to running for probably 6 to 7 years. This is another one that we just need to get on the ball and get this thing going. This would be a really just a cool kind of original patinaed looking. It was originally white. Somebody repainted it green back in the day, but it is an original custom cab V8 automatic truck. So when we do get this thing going and running and on the road, you'll see it right here. This is our 69 XL convertible. Oh, look at that. The sun's going to poke out. It's awesome. This one I feel kind of guilty owning because I don't have anywhere inside to store it. It's a convertible. Somebody did put a new top on it at one point, and this car's most likely going to go to Portland in April to the swap meet and hopefully find a new owner because I just can't own convertibles. I have nowhere to put them. It's a 390 automatic. This one just needs a fuel pump swap, which you'll see here pretty soon. I need to put a new ignition switch in it. Been trying to find a Motorcraft one. I don't like the Chinese stuff from the auto parts stores, but they don't make this one anymore. But it's out there. It's out there. I'll find it. And you'll see a little bit more on this car too. Here sits our 55 Ford Fairlane Victoria 2-door hardtop. This is just kind of an old patinaed survivor car that we're tinkering with. Got its original 272 in it. It's a 3 on the tree. Just working on doing some tune-up stuff on it, and the distributor's stuck in the block. And so that'll be the next step, is getting that freed up, and so I can actually time the car. We drove it once and it stranded us, had to trailer it back home, and I think I got a little more engine work to do. I imagine the engine's probably tired in it, so it may get swapped here in the future. But for the time being, though, when weather gets nice again, we'll try to get it running again on its own engine and just enjoy it a little bit. You'll definitely be seeing more of this car. In the 98% of America doesn't care department, here is our 95 Taurus SHO. 95 last year for the Gen 2 Taurus. This one is a manual trans car. It's a 5-speed, even though automatics were offered from 93 to 95 in these. It's got a little more engine work to do, messing around with the electronics. These are older OBD1 cars that aren't OBD2. Kind of scare people. Usually the practice is to just throw parts on them until they run. This is my youngest son's 86 Thunderbird Turbo Coupe, 86,000 original mile car. Has a burnt valve. He's got the head off of it. Going to be taking that in to get it fixed. May upgrade it to a Beauport head. See if we can get a little more power out of it. This is a 5-speed car. And last of the 4i Fox Thunderbirds. If and when we do get this car running, you'll see it here. Probalicious. My oldest son's been driving this as his winter beater. Actually threw some new studless snows on it. Paint's a little worse for wear, but still fires up, runs, and the heater works. So it's a work in progress. Needs some body work, needs paint, but he's chipping away at it. Here's the Mustang that you've seen in somewhat recent videos. Autocross tires, rain, uphill, getting on the throttle equals what you see here. So I have sold this car to my oldest son. It's his car now. He had a little mishap with it. So he's going to be doing some updating on it. I think he's going to put a Cobra front end on it. It's a little worse for wear, but it still runs and drives. So they basically all the damage you see is just cosmetic. But yeah, oops. Here's our 62 Galaxy 500 XL. This one we've done a little bit on the channel. We did some cleanup on it. It's a 352 automatic bucket seat car. Next step is to supposedly this car is supposed to run. We haven't tried it yet. We'll when the weather gets nicer, we'll see if this 352 will fire up. Our main goal with this is just to get it running and driving and the brakes working and fix the windows. I do need a passenger side window. If anybody's got one, let me know. Drop it in the comments below. Get a hold of us. The driver's side window is actually in the car. It's just stuck. This car sat in the Willamette Valley in Oregon for years, so the just everything's gummed up. Mechanisms are, it's just moist over there, humid. So it was under a tarp, and then mice also got in the headliner, so there's a bunch of pinholes in the roof. So it's probably going to actually need a roof skin when it comes time. But anyway, it's a good solid car. It's worth saving. We'll put it back on the road where it belongs. Now we'll head back into the pasture, see what we've got out here. This is my oldest son's 5.0 93 LX 50 Mustang. Last year of this model. We've done the 5-lug conversion on the rear. Got the different wheels on the back. We still have the front to do. He's got a bunch of interior parts for it. So this car needs paint. He's probably going to get it painted eventually. But yeah, so that one will, this horse will ride again. This is literally the black sheep of the family. My oldest son bought this car. It's a 95 Z28. It is a 6-speed manual. He has been working on trying to get running. I believe it needs a fuel pump. I guess a fuel pump is, from what I hear, I don't work on a lot of Chevrolets, is a nightmare to do in these cars. So he's tempted to cut a hole in the floor under the rear seat to access it, but I won't let him. So here it sits until the time can be made to properly put a fuel pump in this car. Here we have the 73 Ford Bronco. This one runs and drives. It's 46,000 original miles on it, but the body was pretty much beat to a pulp. This came from Folsom, California area. Big Rubiconers down there. This apparently has been over at a time or two. So most of the rocker panels have been cut away. There's no rust in it, no rot. It's just beat. It is low mileage, still has its original 302, but the every gasket in it is shot, so it leaks oil out of every crease and crevice. So drivetrain needs to be pulled and resealed, but it's still usable as is. This is our 64 Galaxy 500 two-door fastback, original 289 car. Still has its 289 in it. I don't think it'll run again. Not with this motor anyway. This is another one. We traveled to Montana to get this car. You can go back and watch the video on the channel. This car is actually better than it looks. I know that's hard to hear, but not really rusty. Just has a lot of bumps and bruises. I think it was originally probably an Eastern Oregon car, had Oregon plates on it, but ended up in Western Montana. Got a little damage to the rocker down there, and it's got some bumps and bruises and some damage to the quarter panel here, but like I say, it's not really rusty. There's no real rot in it. Maybe NASCAR clone with this car. Maybe that's the direction we go with it. Again, I just didn't want to see it get crushed. So it came home with us. And whatever happens to it, you will see it right here on this channel. Now this is our other 62 Galaxy 500 XL two-door hardtop. This one I got from a friend of mine. It's a 390 Z code. Still has its original motor. The rear seat was stolen out of it before my friend got it, and the console, so he did obtain those parts. It's got a little damage on the quarterback there, but it's mostly a solid car. You see where mice had built up a nest in the bottom of the door there, and that's why it's starting to rust through from the inside out. Lower part of the front fenders is gone, very typical on these cars. Still proudly wears its 390 badges though. I think if we can pop this hood on this one. Still there. Proper silver valve covers with the Thunderbird script. Still has its Autolite 4100 4-barrel under there. Motor's not stuck. This car apparently was parked after it had an off-road excursion, so it's got some damage to like the front cross member underneath. Nothing structural really. This is another one we're just going to work on getting put back on the road. And again, you'll see it right here. This is our 63 500 XL two-door hardtop. Early 63, so it is not the fastback roof. It has the formal roof, like the 62. You can compare the roofs on the two of them here. The fastback would come out mid-year. This car is really, really solid. Most of the 500 XL stuff was missing on it when I got it. So I do have most of those parts collected, and this one is another one that we just plan on putting back on the road. This is an original 390 automatic bucket seat console car. I kind of have an affinity for the box tops. A lot of people say, no, you got to have a fastback, but I really like the original color combo on this too. You can see it right here on the fender. That champagne color, I think is what they called it. You see it under where the mirror was mounted. Somebody painted it orange over this, but again, it's actually a pretty solid car. Not really any rot to speak of in it. It does have some bumps and bruises and some damage here and there, but nothing that we can't fix and get past. Again, hopefully, if you keep watching this channel, you'll see this one return to glory as well. Our 1958 Edsel Pacer. This one we've kind of started tinkering around, working on trying to get it running. This car has not been driven, looks like, or registered since the late 60s, like 67 or 68 was the last time. So it's rusty, but we really want to put this one back on the road. It's kind of a cool color combo. It's got some cool features. This was an original Teletouch car. I don't know if we're going to put it back to that. Somebody way back when probably got a shifter from J.C. Whitney's, because these Teletouches were very problematic. You can see the rotating drum speedometer, factory tachometer car, which is really cool. Original radio still in it. Yeah, it needs a lot of work. You can see through the floor, but I mean, you can look and see that the 64 958, believe that to be original mileage, because these pedal pads don't have much wear. So apparently this car was parked when it was about 10 years old and not used since. So what a fitting tribute to get this thing rolling down the highway again. Again, it is, I mean, it's fairly solid in most places. It does have some issues in the floors. Back here where the license, below the license plate in that little well there, it's kind of rotted out. Not a structural area, so you just gotta love the unique features on the Edsel, the ease on the backup lights. You can see the Edsel in the trim right there. These cars kind of had a look like, almost like the tops were chopped on them from the factory. And this is a Pacer. This would be a junior series car, built on a Ford chassis. There was the Ranger was the base model, the Pacer was the next level up, and then you got into the cars that were built on the Mercury Lincoln chassis, the Citation and the Corsair. Those are the senior series cars. Of course, the junior and senior series car would only go for the 1958 model year. 1959 and 60, both model, the Ranger and the Corsair were both based on the Ford, and in 60 the Ranger was based on the Ford. again, stay tuned to see this car once again prowling the streets. Here we've got our 1962 Galaxy, just a Galaxy. It's not a 500 or a 500 XL. This is a two-door post car. Had to have this car. It's really solid. It does have a little bit of damage back here on the quarter panel, but really no rot to speak of. This car was originally sold in Moses Lake, Washington. It looks like it still has the, or maybe that was the used car dealer that sold it, because it doesn't have 62 plates. It has 63 plates on it. So this is an Eastern Washington desert car. It's a 6-cylinder, 3 on the tree. Drivetrain is gone. Still has the clutch pedals in it though. I've already obtained a T10 for it, and we've got a 390 that we pulled out of wagon over here. That's a good running engine that we are going to mate together and kind of just make a little kind of 70s, 80s kind of street bruiser kind of machine out of it. So that will be hopefully being done sooner than later, so keep watching the channel for updates on this one. And like I said, we're kind of a low budget operation, so when I wanted a 1961 Starliner, I pretty much had to find the worst one possible that would fit my budget, and here it is. This car came out of the west side over on the Oak Harbor area, on the island over near Seattle. This car is really, really rotten in the bottom. The down here in the quarter panels, you can see that's already been patched once. The inside where the rear seat goes is just as bad. This is all just eaten up, but it is still a Starliner. It's a W code. It's a 292 car. I know, not the most desirable one, but these cars still just look awesome. And I couldn't stand to see this car get crushed. The engine actually looks pretty decent. I don't know if somebody just did the old Craigslist Krylon rebuild, or if it's actually been rebuilt, but it looks like somebody was kind of working on getting this car back together. It's got new exhaust with nice tips on the back. It's a 292 two-barrel. But again, another car that we're just working on putting back on the road. You're gonna have to probably end up doing a little bit of sheet metal work on this one just to make it structurally sound. But again, it is a Starliner, so in my opinion, I could be wrong. I think it's worth saving. '98 Ford Taurus SHO. Why do you care? You probably don't. But again, we like to buy weird stuff that, you know, we love the 60s cars, love the 50s cars, but we kind of like the 80s and 90s cars too. These cars were kind of cool when they were out. This actually has a Yamaha V8. It's not a big V8, it's only 3.4 liters, but it's actually a Cosworth block with a Yamaha top end. So, I don't know, it just kind of represents something different that was being done back in the day, and this one needs some electronics worked on to get going. Somebody tried to, not realizing that these have a passive anti-theft system with a chip key, somebody actually punched the ignition out because they lost the keys. Not because they were trying to steal it, because they lost the keys and thought they could just drive it with a screwdriver, but it doesn't work without the chip and the key. So they tried to eliminate the anti-theft system and ended up just making it worse. So we're putting all that back together, and we're gonna, yeah, I know we're crazy, but we're gonna put this one back on the road too. And these, I mean, they weren't considered fast back in the day, but I mean, maybe in the late 90s. I mean, it was still kind of cool because in the 80s and 90s, performance sedans really weren't a thing unless you looked at an M-Series Beamer or something like that. But again, Yeah, I know we're nuts, but we'll put a little love into this one. Here we have a 1967 Ford Thunderbird. Suicide door 4-door. Not a model that gets a lot of love. This one is actually just going to give up its drivetrain for one of the other cars that you see around here. This is a Q code car, so it does have the 428. I did drive this car on the trailer when I bought it. The rest of the car is going to get parted out, and the body will probably be crushed. It has rust in the roof. It has a lot of rust in the rear quarters. So again, there's no market for these cars really. So hopefully its parts can go on to help another maybe 2-door live. If you need any parts for a 67, 68 Thunderbird, hit us up. We can, anything off this car that we're not using, which is most of it, besides the engine and transmission, would be available. 1962 Galaxy 500 4-door sedan. This is just a parts car with no title on this car. Still has a Cruise-O-Matic transmission in it. This was a 390 car. It was a Z code, or still is a Z code, just doesn't have its motor. Somebody was using this to restore another car, so they cut the floor out of the rear of it. You can see grass growing up inside the car. Oh, and I got cats living in it too. Oh, cool. Nice. It has an easy egress system for the cats there with the floor missing. But anyway, this car was going to get crushed, so I intercepted it because it still has good parts. And again, once all the parts are stripped off of it, then it will go to the crusher. Another marvel of the 90s performance era. 91 Taurus SHO. This one actually runs and drives. Needs exhaust valve seals though. I mean, it's instant mosquito abatement when you fire it up. So I do have all the stuff to fix that. It's just, you know, these tearing apart a Yamaha top-end dual overhead cam engine sounds daunting. So I'm working up to this one. But I'll get it done. Comment below if you actually want to see that done on the channel. If that's something that would interest like one person out there, actually tearing the top end of one of these engines down and doing valve stem seals in the car. If you guys want to see that, let me know. If you don't, let me know. Here we have a 1960 Edsel Ranger 2-door hardtop. Only 295 of these made. Still has its original 292 in it. I'm sure it's locked up. 2-speed Ford O-Matic. This is basically had the Starliner roof. This car is really, really rough on the bottom. A lot of rot. But being a 1 of 295 car, in my opinion again, and I'm crazy, it's worth saving. The trunk's completely gone. In fact, the gas tank is falling out of it because there's nothing left of the trunk floor to hold it up anymore. But again, it's a complete car. I can't see a 1 of 295 car going to the crusher no matter how bad it is. This is my oldest son's 92 SHO, 3-liter Yamaha top end, 5-speed car. I think this car is probably going to end up as like a Lemon's car, a track car. I mean, it's still a decent car. Already got another hood for it. He'll one of these days he'll figure out what he's going to do with it. If you guys want to see this thing in a Lemons race, let me know in the comments. This is our most recent acquisition. This is another 1960 Edsel 2-door sedan, 2-door post. 777 of these were made. We have 2 of them. This car originally came out of Arizona, I think. The plans for this one is it's a 292 Ford O-Matic as well. We're going to have fee swap it. It'll stay in automatic. And our plans are to debut this car next year at the 2025 duct tape drags. You know, I've kind of followed that event, watched, and I guess there's been Edsels in it before, but I haven't seen it in the last couple years. So I think it's high time that the Big E is represented. So a couple unique things about this car. One unique thing mainly that drew me to it, other than it's a 60 Edsel, is this car is actually a two-tone. It's white with the blue turquoise roof, which I thought was really cool. And it is an air conditioning car too. So it actually, for a two-door post sedan car, it actually had some options, unlike the six-cylinder car we have out front with the six-cylinder and the three-speed manual transmission. Again, 292, two-speed, so again, not a big performance engine or anything. You could get the Y code 352 in these with the 4-barrel. That was the big engine that was offered in the Edsel in 60. I think it was rated at 300 horsepower. I could be wrong on that, but wow, just looking at that one again, the bottom of the car, bottom of that rocker panel's gone. We do have replacement rockers for that, by the way. So again, follow on the progress on this. We're gonna have a lot of work to do on this through spring and next summer to get it ready for next fall. And follow along. Make sure you subscribe. Ring that bell. Make sure you get notified when we post something new. We'll see if we can actually make this car competitive. It's heavy, but I don't know. I'm thinking big inch FE, good automatic, C6, with probably some pretty deep gears in the back. It's going to be an old school recipe. Like I say, we don't have a lot of money into it. And that's what the duct tape drags is all about, is go as fast as you can with spending as least amount of money as possible. And we will epitomize that here. Stay tuned. 70 Country Squire wagon. This car is really rough. People comment, they see this car in my videos and they comment all the time, oh, please save that wagon. You've got to save that wagon. This car is really bad. It's really rusty. It's really rotten on the bottom. I mean, this fender's all smashed in. It still has some good parts on it. There's no title for it. Again, it's not. It's a 390 automatic car. The engine out of it's going to end up in that 62 two-door post, because it is a. We did get it running. You can go back and watch that video on our channel. The whole like spare tire well is rotten in this car, but all the glass is good in it. This is a 10-passenger wagon. All the seats are still in it. The seats, if you look, still have the plastic on them. Tailgate might still be good. And if you need any 70 Country Squire parts, might be right here. Drop us a line. More late model stuff that we're drawn to sometimes. This is a 93 Thunderbird LX 5.0. And why should we care about this car? Because it's a 5.0. And yeah, it's not a Mustang GT or an LX 5.0 Mustang, but from 91 to 93, they did use that same engine in these MN12 Thunderbirds. These cars were pretty advanced for their time, actually, with rear independent suspension. The Super Coupes, which we'll see here in a minute, were kind of like ahead of their time, really. Supercharged engine, IRS. They are heavy, so it doesn't quite have the pep of the Mustang with this 5.0 in it, but it's still a cool cruiser. Air conditioning still works in it, so why not keep it around? Comment below if you think that these cars will ever be collectible. I mean, really, there was a day when a 63 Galaxy R code 427 car was collectible, but the 63 500 with a 289 and a bench seat was just considered a used car, but that's not the case anymore. Maybe that will happen with these. Maybe these MN12 Thunderbirds will be, which were made from 89 to 97. I remember these when NASCAR used this body style in NASCAR. Maybe there'll be a resurgence. Maybe people will appreciate them. Like I say, let us know below if you think that'll ever happen. Last but not least, 92 Thunderbird Super Coupe. I did have this car repainted, put new carpet in it, working on redoing the, just basically got to put the trim back on it and put the interior back together. This car does run and drive, has 170-some thousand miles on it. I don't know what's ever been done on the engine, but it's pretty much original. Hasn't been modified in any way. It is a 5-speed car. And again, these cars weren't, I mean, they were cool back in the day. They were like 220 horsepower. They weren't what we consider fast. I mean, all of this stuff that we considered fast in the 90s would be dusted by a V6 Camry these days. But, you know, we didn't have variable valve timing and that kind of stuff back then. But this is just kind of, this is just a car that's representative of performance in the era, which is kind of cool. And that's why we keep it around. It's my youngest son's Bronco 2 there, you know, which just actually made Haggerty's bull market list. So he's got that going for him. He traded 2 non-running ATVs for it. So the kid's probably smarter than I am. Thank you for watching this short little video here. Just kind of giving an update on what's going on. There are 3 cars that are down in Oregon at my my dad's place that are not here. The 60 Starliner, which you've seen on the channel, the 65 Galaxy, the LTD 2-door hardtop, and the 66 Montclair 4-door hardtop, which is a 410 automatic car. Those 3 are down in Oregon. 2 of those, the Starliner and the Galaxy, we'd eventually like to road trip up here, and we'll try to bring you along on that journey. If you have any questions, comments, or any direction you think we should take on any of these cars, feel free to drop it in the comments below. We love the chat, we love the discussion, we love the interaction. So again, starting to get cold out here. Can't really feel my fingers, so I think we're going to call it a day and head inside. Again, make sure you go back, watch some of these other videos. You got a nice cold day and you just want to sit around the fire and there's like, yeah, I don't know, what should we watch? And you're arguing, hey, let's watch FullSizeFord. They've got a bunch of archived videos on there that are got some pretty cool stuff. Whose dog's barking? Again, if you like these older Fords, big Mercs, Edsels, maybe we'll get us a Lincoln one of these days. Make sure you subscribe, tell your friends, click that bell, make sure you get notified when we post new stuff. There are going to be some updates coming. You don't want to miss out on those, and we appreciate everybody watching. It really helps us out to kind of revitalize these old cars and keep them going. And you may wonder why things move a little slower on this channel than some of the others you may watch. You know, with a more than full-time job, you deal with seasonal weather challenges. My kids help out. One's got a job, one's still in high school, so sometimes coordinating this stuff can be difficult, but we do what we can. Again, try to be as resourceful as possible. Try to reuse what we have. Probably not going to hear, well, we needed a transmission, so we phoned up our buddies over at GearStar, and they shipped us their latest 4L80E, because well, we don't have any friends at GearStar, and we're just content to clean up an old C6, maybe roll it over on the bench, throw a shift kit in it, and see what happens. we'll share that with you. And we enjoy these old cars. We enjoy making these videos. We enjoy sharing this stuff. And just want to say we really appreciate you watching and supporting us. Man, we've got a lot of work